it play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for you. In this video, we are going to paint the sword blade on this Yvraine model. We want to do a nice, bright, glowing blue sword. As always, if you have suggestions for something you'd like to see in a future how-to video, please leave them down below in the comments. Like I said, I want this to be a nice, glowing blue sword, but not quite like a power sword. I want it to be a little bit different and to complement the swirling sculpt of the blade. We're going to start by basing everything with a really dark blue. We're going to use the color Inky by Darkness. I want to thin it down before I apply it. I'm going to use some Lamy and Medium, but use whatever thinner works for you. And I'm just going to quickly paint this over the whole blade. This is going to give me a starting place. It's going to be my darkest shadow, which has a nice blue tint to it. It's going to make sure that all of my colors are going over one surface instead of having some areas that are brighter than others. And I want to make sure that I apply this in a couple controlled thin layers. I don't want it to go on too thick all at once. So I'm going to apply it to one side, let it dry while I paint the other side, and then go back and add a second layer after it's dried completely. Next, I'm going to take some Sotek green and I'm going to mix it into my Inky by Darkness, about 50-50. And I want to apply a little bit of this color just right along this top edge, making it a little bit brighter on this top half, right up to the area in the middle where there's that sculpted break. I want to make sure that this top edge is nice and bright. I'm going to have some deeper shadows in the lower area, but this kind of begins to brighten everything and gives me more of a starting point. Next, I'm switching to pure Sotek green. And with this color, I'm switching to a much smaller brush. I want to begin using more of my detail brushes. And I'm applying this color in two main areas. I'm going to do a pretty thick line highlight, outlining that center line as it swoops up. And then I also want to highlight that top edge as well. I'm going to leave the very center of the top blade with a little bit more of a shadow, really bringing brightness just to the areas that have a really defined edge. Those are going to be my main areas, but I'm also going to highlight this lower edge a little bit as well, but only on this large area of blade. My next highlight is going to be with the color Temple Guard Blue. This is also going to begin as a line highlight. I'm going to outline all these circular holes that are sculpted in the middle, especially the top edge, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit to the lower edge as well and kind of let it taper off down there. And then I want to outline this middle line as it swoops up to that point. I'm going to add a little bit of a line highlight to the top edge as well, and I'm going to do a little bit on this lower edge, but really mostly exaggerating this hooked area right in the middle of the blade along that lower edge. And then as I move to the very end of the sword, I'm going to build out the brightness a little bit more. I want that area at the very sharp tip to be the brightest. At this point, once I've kind of made my edge highlights, I'm going to pick a few areas to really build out with this color. I'm going to build out the very tip of the sword. I want that area to be nice and bright, but I'm also going to pick out a little section right towards the hilt to be bright as well, kind of to act as a little bit of a complementary area. So it's going to be bright at the tip. It's going to be bright right at the hilt, especially along the top edge. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a glow on the lower edge right at that really sharp point about halfway through. Once I've blocked out those particular areas, I'm going to take my Temple Guard Blue and I'm going to mix in a little bit of Ceramite White at about a 50-50 ratio. And I'm going to use this brighter blue to highlight those sections that I just blocked out. I'm going to mostly paint in the center of those sections that I just highlighted. I want to drag this paint along the edges as well, really exaggerating the lines that are sculpted onto this sword and complementing them with my highlight. I can begin by doing the same thing I did with my pure Temple Guard blue, where I do a little bit of an edge highlight and then I build it out, kind of visually looking at the sword, seeing what areas I think could use a little bit more exaggeration and a little bit more emphasis. I can always go back with my previous colors and tone things down if I feel like they're getting a little bit too crazy. And in general, I want to bring a lot of attention to the areas that have really sharp defined lines. Adding brightness there makes everything look sharper. After that 50-50 mixture, I'm going to continue to brighten with pure ceramite white. Again, I'm beginning this as an edge highlight. I'm not using this to fully outline all of the edges. I'm picking out just the areas that I really want to be the brightest. This isn't going to simply remain a full edge highlight though. If there's some area that I really want to be nice and bright, I can build it out a little bit. And with that last highlight, the sword blade on this Yvraine model is complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to finish up this Yvraine model by painting her cat in the MiniWarGaming Vault, and the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a Vault membership, go ahead and click on the link. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial and get access to my video as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!